We're going to meet the man who, of course, transcends sport, who must be the most instantly recognised face in the world. And that face, by the way, is still unmarked, despite the fact that the hardest punchers have hit it from time to time. Well, he's in the Northeast, as you said, to raise funds for the National Association of Boys Clubs, and he's done it off his own back, by the way, and in particular the Tyne and Weir Club. And he just loves meeting people, and that's why we're going to have a lot of fun with him, and no punches pulled session. Well, he is a familiar face, of course, to World of Sport, and what a pleasure it is to greet again the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Well, Mohammed, I've been around the world with you quite a bit. What a reception that is. Isn't that fantastic? Are you enjoying yourself in the Tyneside?
It really is. I'm so happy I came here for the benefit of the Boys Club. I never knew I had so many old people and young people, and just everybody seemed to recognize me. I'm at the end of the road in boxing, probably another year or less, I'll retire. But looking at all of this makes me want to start all over again.
It really does. I mean, do you continue boxing because you're still enjoying the glory of it, or you need the money?
Well, I don't really need the money, and I don't need the glory. But
I'll rephrase that question.
I enjoy boxing. I'll be sad the day I quit. I've been boxing since I was 12 years old. I'm 35 now. I know I don't look it, but I'm 35 now. 35 years old now, and I have to get out soon. I want to get out while I'm champion. I don't want to stay around like 99% of the fighters do, wind up on the back. But I fight because I still like it. The things that I want to do, holding the world heavyweight title opens a lot of doors, gets you a lot of trips to a lot of countries. You get to go on a lot of television shows. When you're the champion, the day you retire, people don't really forget, but there's another champion, then he's in that spotlight. And I'm receiving publicity, and I attract people in a way that no other athlete has ever done. And I'm enjoying it, and a lot of things I want to promote as far as human rights, as far as people uniting, coming together, and loving, respecting one another, helping bring peace to the world. There's a lot I can do with the title. And the longer I hold it, the more I do, so that's why I stay in it.
Tell me, would you like to reveal who you're going to fight next?
My next fight will be with a fellow who knocked out Jimmy Young a year or so ago, and Ken Norton said that he don't want to fight him. Ken Norton will fight everybody but this man, and his name is Ernie Schaefer's. He's the #4 contender in the world. He hits real hard. And I'm going to fight him probably in Yankee Stadium, Persia, a country called Iran, one of those two. And it's going to be a good fight, and people are saying that my reflexes are gone, I cannot dance no more, aged and got me. And this is what's going to make the fight big, because possibly they think this might be the fall of Muhammad Ali. Yeah. But they are wrong as usual.
Were you unhappy with your showing? Mohammed, in view of what you've just said, were you unhappy with your showing in the Ken Norton fight? Is that what you're saying?
No, the Ken Norton fight, I was in top shape. I did my best. He happens to have a style that's hard for me to fight. boxing is only styles. You take George Foreman. If he come out of retirement and fought Ken Norton, he'll knock him out. If he fight Jimmy Young, he might lose again. But Ken Norton comes at you. He can't back up. He always comes in. And he's made for people like George Foreman to hit, where Jimmy Young is always running. He's hard to hit. So it's styles that make fighters.
Well, we're going to turn now, Mohammed, to meet the Geordies and, of course, some of the champions that we're in the audience to ask some questions to keep you going. And the first question comes from a local councillor here, right in the front. Would you like to ask the question, please?
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Eldon Square Recreation Centre and ask you the first question. Could I ask you, Ali, what has been your greatest impression of the people in the city of Newcastle since you arrived here?
Well, the greatest impression that I've had here is the peace that's in the city, the serenity, the unity, and the cleanliness. I've never saw no streets in my country, America, so clean. I've never saw people so orderly and obedient to the policeman. I asked the police officer, "Where's your pistol?" He said, "Man, we don't need that here. In America, you need 4 policemen have to ride in the same car to guard each other. They all need on 2 pistols and a rifle and a shotgun and a big dog in case that don't work." and they all riding. You all are so civilized and so clean, and the city is just like heaven. This city, England, is heaven compared to America. In America, last weekend in Chicago, 12 people died fighting each other. A week before that, 24 died. And they all happen to be my people, black people. Every day it's a murder, a killing, a robbery. In Ohio, the women are too afraid to come out at night because they get raped. And what impressed me so is I never believed that I could come to see so many people who were actually practicing the Christian religion, living it, not just preaching it, but living it. You all practice what people in my country preach.
We're going to the next question now. This is a former featherweight champion, Bobby Neal, who would like to ask you a question.
He boxed?
He was champion.
What did he box? Oranges, bananas,
kippers? Right, Bobby.
Mohammed, a few years ago you were reporting the press as saying that when you retire from boxing, boxing would be finished. Are you still of that opinion today?
Well, when I said that, I don't mean boxing will be finished. It'll just be flying a lot lower than it is now, a lot slower. Like, for an example, the Concorde, the airplane. If you take Concorde, if you were a pilot, or if you were a passenger who flew on the Concorde, or if you were a pilot, then you might say if the Concorde is no longer flying, that's the end of flying. It's not the end of flying per se. There'll be props and helicopters and this and that, but there'll be no more fast, good trips like the Concorde. So there'll be boxing when I'm out, but there'll be no more poetry. There'll be no more shuffles. There'll be no more predicting. There'll be no more, like, I myself, I'm surprised at the people that line the streets of the countries that I go to, Africa, Pakistan, Morocco, Syria, Scotland, France, London. I mean, people line the streets just like your queen was coming through. And athletes themselves that are around me have never saw. God has blessed me to attract more than just boxing fans. So therefore, when I quit, it won't, boxing will still be. They'll make gloves, boys will box, but there'll never be a fighter, I think, in our lifetimes that can draw 2 billion people to watch a fight, which is 2,000 million. It's 4 billion people on the planet, and every time Muhammad Ali steps in the ring, 2 billion people watch the actual fight or the rerun, and they're conscious of the results. 2 billion, how many million is in all England?
I'll put it, that's enough money for the promoters, I'll tell you that.
It's 200 million people in America. How many people in England?
Well, not as
Roughly,
nearly as many as that, a quarter of that.
What's the population of England?
A quarter of that, isn't it?
Roughly.
About, yeah, 50 million.
50? 50 million? Well,
fight fans or people?
No, I'm talking just people in England. How many, what's the population
fans.
roughly?
Well, all of them know you, whoever they are.
No, what's the population?
I don't really know that offhand. About 55 million.
55 million.
Yeah, 50 to 55.
Well, picture everybody in England. There's a lot of people out here. Picture everybody in England and magnify 55 million to 2,000 million. Well, that's how many watch my fights.
Yeah.
So I think that after I'm through boxing, when I say it'll be over for like Mecca, Morocco, Syria, Tunisia, Pakistan, Iran.
Yeah.
People who never follow fights follow my fights. So I would say when I'm finished, that'll be finished. But they'll go back to the boxing fans, the cigar smoking, the old fellas that come to the fights and, hey, knock them out, champ. Just those people still be around, but not the pretty girls. They won't follow it.
We've got another question now. We have the present European light welterweight champion, Dave Green, who fought Carlos
He's
Palomino.
here.
He's here. On you go, Dave.
I didn't know he was so ugly.
I'd just like to say that I had the pleasure this morning to be in the company of Muhammad Ali, and I was amazed at the reception he got in Newcastle. And I'd just like to know how that competes with the rest of the world.
I will tell you one thing, my friend. Being a black man, I get these type of receptions all throughout Africa and Asia. But this is the first time in a European country that I've ever had so much fanfare and people admiring me and loving me and coming out to meet me and greet me like this. This is the first time. This is the first time. I've never saw so many people lining the streets. I mean, old people, people who couldn't even walk good, couldn't even see. One lady said, "Hey, Mommy, darling." She had a cane. And it really brings tears to your eyes to see people that old really knowing you and falling and getting trampled over, little bitty children, and then so far from America. This is really a blessing from God to have so many fans. There's a lot of people on earth, and to be recognized as the most popular person in the world and being from America, this is really a blessing and it makes me feel real good.
Right, Mohammed. Okay, we have a next question right up here in the balcony here. Right, sir.
I personally thought your best performance was against Cleveland Williams. What do you consider your best performance yourself?
Manila, Joe Frazier, the third fight with Joe Frazier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Reason I say so, Williams was a mediocre fighter, never was a great fighter like Joe Frazier. And I was much younger then, real young, like 25, 26. When I fought Joe Frazier, I was like 33 years old. And Joe Frazier was much rougher than Williams, and I came through that night really good. So that's the way I look at it. I fought a much better fight, and I was old at the time and still got by like I did. So that, don't you agree? That was the best one. Yeah. But I would say I may have looked more pretty and classy with Williams doing the shuffle and all that stuff.
So we've got a young boy there. We'd like to ask you a question, Mohammed. I think that'll go well.
Mohammed, could you tell us what's your prediction for your next fight, please?
There's a nice Geordie voice for you.
My prediction for the next fight is I'll be there. That's all. I have no prediction. I used to predict the exact round and write poems on how we'll do it, but I'm not really that good yet. I remember I fought your local champion, Henry Cooper, way back in 1963.
63 and 6, yes.
Yeah, you all were real young. You probably wasn't born in 63, some of you. And you old men were a lot younger. Back in 63, I predicted, this is no jive. Cooper shall go in 5. In round 2, Cooper hit me with left hook and knocked me down. And you remember that, don't you? Don't you remember that?
Yeah, very much.
You were ringside, running your mouth.
I was looking you in the eye at the time.
I'm telling you
that.
Muhammad Ali's down. He's down. The big mouth is shut. The big mouth is shut. The big mouth is shut. How's he going to explain? Didn't you?
I wouldn't do that to you. Listen, would you like to give me... Mohammed, I'm not going to rumble with you. You're too big for me. Would you like to give me Muhammad Ali, the Legend poem, please?
Oh, you like that poem?
Yeah.
That's when I was writing poems. This is the legend of Muhammad Ali, the prettiest fighter there ever will be. He talks a great deal, he brags indeed, of a powerful punch and blinding speed. The fistic world was dull and wearied. With a champ like Foreman, things had to be dreary. Now someone with color, someone with dash. He brings fight fans a running with cash. This brash young boxer is something to see, and the heavyweight championship is his destiny. Ali fights great. He's got speed and endurance. If you sign to fight him, increase your insurance. Ali's got a left, Ali's got a right. If he hits you once, you're asleep for the night. And as you lie on the floor while the ref counts 10, you better hope and pray you don't meet me again. For I'm the man this poem is about, the true champion of the world, there isn't a doubt. Once I predicted and I knew the score. I told him I'd be champ of the world in '64. When I say 3, they go in the 3rd. Don't bet against me, I'm a man of my word. Do you remember when I predicted Sonny Liston's dismemberment? I hit him so hard, he forgot where October and November went. If I tell you a mosquito could pull a plow, don't ask how, hitch him up.
Mohammed, I'd like to ask you, I have a son 9 years old who takes boxing lessons at the Moorside Boys Club. What advice would you give to a young boxer?
The advice I would give a young boxer is not to try to make it his profession. Use his brains, his mind, take advantage of his youth, and learn, because young people learn much quicker than old people. Go to school, get an education, take up a trade, go to college. See, everybody was born for a purpose. Trees have a purpose. Everything God created has a purpose. The moon has a purpose, I tell children. The rain, snow, cats, dogs, everything you can think of was put here for purpose. And most surely, human beings have a purpose too. And the wise man is he who knows his life purpose. 10 people with the knowledge of the purpose are more powerful than 1,000 without the purpose. So I would tell a child to find out what it is they want to be, whether a doctor, a lawyer, a school teacher, a jet plane pilot, a mechanic, a carpenter. Try to do something where your mind would depend on if you make it or not, because your body could get sick, you could get a broken leg, or his health could be bad, or he might not make it enough to. And then once he finds out that he can't be a fighter, life becomes a tragedy, and it's too late to presume some type of trade. So while they're young, I wouldn't tell no young man to try to make boxing a profession, because the odds are there might be one Muhammad Ali every 200 years. See?
Right, thank you very much. Right up the back, up in the centre block now we are.
When you had your first fight with Joe Frazier and your comeback, I think you probably realise now, as most people do, that you took it too early. Why was this? Was it that you underestimated Joe Frazier, or were these the only terms the boxing authorities would allow you to come back on, that you only allowed 2 warm-up fights?
What? You asked me about the first fight?
Yeah, did you take it too early?
First fight, I took it too lightly. I played, I wasn't serious. They took my passport. See, I get a lot of strength out of coming here and seeing you all. Seeing people. When they took my passport for not going to Vietnam, for 3.5 years I couldn't leave the country, and I forgot about how many people followed me and loved me. So when I fought Joe Frazier, I didn't realize how many people were really looking for me to win. But after I lost Joe Frazier, I went to Kuwait. The Emir, the president of Kuwait, he said his wife, his children cried, please don't play with him no more. I went all throughout the world, met kings and leaders of countries. I said, I didn't know that many people watched the Frazier fight. I went back and trained real hard. So I get a lot of strength out of people. I gotta have people around me, I gotta be with people, I got to talk to the people, hug the people, kiss the children. This gives me strength. When I go back to America and realize that there's a place called Newcastle on the planet, and in Newcastle are thousands of people that just hollering, waving, and admire Muhammad Ali. And days I don't want to run, I'm going to get up and make myself run. Days I don't want to train, I'm going to make myself train. I see some ice cream or cake that I want to eat, I'm going to let it go. Now, there's too many people who know me. So I get a lot of strength when I come out. So the first fight, I hadn't been around the world in 3.5 years. I lost contact with the people. I didn't take the thing serious. I didn't realize what was involved and I lost. But the second time I was ready. Third time I was readier yet.
Yeah, right, Charles. The first fight, all three fights were fantastic, really, weren't they?
But the last one,
was
ready.
Was really terrific. I agree with you. We got a young lad here who's standing up on the seat. I hope we can pick him up all right. On the left-hand side, there he is. Yes, sir.
Mohammed, I'd like to know what you're going to do when you retire from boxing.
I think he's probably taking the last count at the moment. I'll do my best to wake him up
Just
for
sleep.
you.
That's all I'm going to do.
That's all he wants to do when he retires.
Now, when I retire from boxing, I really don't know. I want to say something right here. This might make you all think. Life is not really long. Let's say the average person, 30 years old. If you're 30 years old, you are not but about 7 years old. How can I prove it? Add up all the 7, 8, 9 hours you slept for 30 years. Out of 30 years, add up all the nights, last night when you went to bed and woke up this morning, you don't remember a thing. You've been unconscious for about 8 years. If you're 30 years old, you slept about 8 years. Okay. How much traveling have you done in 30 years? From the television station to home, to another country, to another city, to school, to church. You've probably traveled 2 years your life was spent just getting back and forth to where you're going. So there's 8 years of sleeping, 2 years of traveling. There's 30 years out of your life before you accomplish anything. How long do you sit in school? In America, we stay in school from the 12th grade from the 1st grade to 12th grade. Same here?
Yeah, virtually.
6 hours a day?
Yeah.
6 hours a day for 12 years, break it down, you sat in a classroom for 3 years without leaving. Okay, 2 years of traveling, 8 years of sleeping, 3 years of school. How many movies have you went to? How many wrestling matches? How much entertainment? How many movie theaters, live plays, baseball games? Probably 2 years of entertainment. So by the time a man, you older people know him, bear witness what I'm saying, by the time you have children, by the time you have made a way for your children, by the time you've paid for your home, you're pushing 60 years old. So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So what am I? I'm 35 years old. 30 more years, I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. Your wife will tell you that. So what I'm saying, when you're 65, ain't too much more to do. So did you know I'll be 65 in 30 more years? In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I don't have 30 years of daylight. I have to travel back to America, take 6, 7 miles. All my traveling, probably 4 years of traveling in the next 30 years, about 9 years of sleeping, television, movies, entertainment, about 3 years of entertainment. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down. What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God. Owning real estate, going in business, teaching boxers, that won't get me to heaven. How many here believe there's a supreme being, believe there's a God? How many believe there's some power that made the sun, the moon, the stars? How many believe that this stuff didn't just come out here? Somebody wiser than us made it. How many believe there's a God? How many believe there's not a God? All right. Believe there's not a God. All right. If I told you, you who don't believe in God, if I told you that this glass sprang into existence, this glass made itself, no man made this glass, would you believe it? Would you believe I just told you this thing made itself?
No.
No. When I tell you, you wouldn't believe it, right?
No, somebody's doubting it, yeah, so
No,
I'm giving you
just
the
saying,
answer. That's
she wouldn't believe it. If I told her this television station popped into existence. It just, no man made it. You said Muhammad Ali's crazy. All right. Well, if this glass can't make itself, if I told you those clothes you have on wove themselves, nobody created them, those clothes made themselves, you wouldn't believe it. But if your clothes didn't make itself, if that glass couldn't make itself, if this building didn't make itself, then how did the moon get out there? How did the stars and Jupiter, Neptune and Mars and the sun, how did nature, how did all this come here if didn't know why is something planning to make it? So what I'm saying is, I believe that we're going to be judged. Should a man like Hitler kill all the Jews and get away with it? Somebody should punish him. Maybe he get it, don't get it now, he get it when he died, in hell for eternity. So what I'm going to do when I get out of boxing is to get myself ready to meet God, because my plane might blow up. Don't planes blow up in this country sometime and crash? Don't people die every day?
Not every day.
It's a scary thing to think that I'm going to hell to burn eternally forever. So what am I going to do? I'm taking I'm explaining what you asked me a question. You ask me questions, I can't just answer like that. When I get out of boxing or when I'm through, I'm going to do all I can to help people. That's why I'm here with Johnny Walker. Here's a poor man, came all the way to America. Here's a bunch of boys need some money, and somebody is calling me to help them. God is watching me. God don't praise me because I beat Joe Frazier. God don't give nothing about Joe Frazier. God don't care nothing about England or America as far as your wealth is all his. He wants to know, how do we treat each other? How do we help each other? So I'm going to dedicate my life to using my name and popularity, helping charities, helping people, uniting people, bring people bumming each other because of religious beliefs. We need somebody in the world to help make peace. So when I die, if there's a heaven, I want to see it. Because we live how long? 80 years? The odds are everybody in this room, some of you are going to be dead 20 years from now, some of you are going to be dead 50 years from now, some are going to be dead 30, and some are going to be dead 60, 70 years from now. We all going to die soon. And if you live to be, say, 125 years old, which we don't do, right? Let's say we live to be 250, and you can have sex for 145 of those years. You're going to come to the end after that. So we don't have but about 80 years on earth. This is a test to see where will we spend our life in heaven and hell. This is not the life now. Your real self is inside you. Your body gets old. Some of you go to look at the fridge, you don't have no teeth. Your hair is leaving you. Your bodies get tired. But your soul and your spirit never die. That's going to live forever. So your body is just housing your soul and spirit. So God is testing us on how we treat each other, how we live, to see where our real home be in heaven. So this physical stuff don't last for so long. So my car, this building is going to be here when the man who built it dead. There have been many kings and queens of England. They're all dead. After this one is gone, another one will come. So we don't stay here. We're just trustees. We don't own nothing. Even your children are not yours. If you think I'm lying, your wife is not yours. You die and come back a year later and go slip in your bedroom and see if your wife is by herself. See, you don't own your wife. You don't own I divorced my wife. You may have read about it. And my 4 children, they call another man daddy now. They don't see me no more. You don't own your children. You don't own your family. So what am I saying? The most important thing about life is what's going to happen when you die. Are you going to go to heaven or hell? And that's eternity. How long is eternity? Let's imagine. Take the Sahara Desert. There's a lot of sand on the Sahara Desert, right? Then imagine that 1 grain of sand represents 1,000 years, and when you in hell burning, when you die and go to hell, you're going to burn forever and ever, no end. How long is that? Give you an idea how long eternity is. Take the Sahara Desert, and I told you to wait 1,000 years. And every 1,000 years, I want you to pick up a grain of sand until the desert is empty. Okay, wait 1,000 years, pick up the first grain. Wait another 1,000 years before you get the next grain. Keep that up until there's no more sand in the desert. Whew. You know how long America's not but 200 years old. We got 800 more years to go before 1,000. So it just scares me to think that I'm going to die one day and go to hell. I'm on an airplane that might blow up. I'm always traveling. And to go to hell and God is going to judge my soul. The police, I might kill people. I might rob people. The authorities might not catch me. The FBI, Scotland Yard might not catch me, but when I die, somebody's watching me and keeping count, and I can't get away, and I'm gonna burn forever and ever and ever. I'll go to heaven. So what am I gonna do when I'm through fighting? I only have 16 years to be productive, get myself ready to meet God and go to the best place. Don't that make sense?
Thank you.
Ali, in your fights with Joe Frazier, you hit him with a lot of hard punches, but why do you think you were unable to knock him down?
Well, a lot of them I don't knock down. Some I do knock down. I knocked George Foreman down. He knocked Joe Frazier down twice, killed him. That's the way it goes. I never knocked George Foreman. I've never knocked Ken Norton down, but George Foreman knocked him out cold, and I knock out George Foreman. Boxing's funny like that. So sometimes they go and sometimes they don't. The main thing is win.
Does that mean that you
If it's 1 point, I win. Sometimes racehorses win by just a nose, don't they? They got to take a little fine line and see who the winner is, but he win, right? Sometimes I win fights by half a point, but I win. Mark Spitz, the great Olympic swimmer, so most of the people he beat just by a finger length, but he win. So sometimes I knock him out and sometimes I don't, but the main thing is you win.
Does that mean that you think you fought a better fight against Foreman than you did against Frazier?
No, Frazier. I think Frazier's the best, although it didn't knock him out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, let's see if we can have a bit of fun now. Yes, sir, please. On the left-hand side, let's pick that up.
Muhammad Ali, how do you feel being in the north of England? How did you feel when you first went in the ring with Sonny Liston?
Scared
and
to death.
What was going on when you fought Ernie Terrell? You seem to do a lot of talking like you're doing this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
What's he mean like I'm doing this afternoon?
Yeah, that's what you
He's
paid
a
to come in
wise
for.
guy.
He's a wise
He's
guy.
a wise guy. Hey, I'll see you back at the pub. No, when I fought Ernie Terrell, I was just talking. He wouldn't call me my name. When I turned Islamic, I gave up the name of Cassius Clay for Muhammad Ali. Clay was the name they give us in slavery. We belong to Mr. Clay. They name us after Clay. If we're sold to Mr. Smith, then my name was Smith. If they sold me to Mr. Washington, my name was Washington. These are names which identified us as property of certain masters. But today we're free. Today slavery is over. So now that I'm free, I go back into the names of my people, people in Asia and Africa. So he wouldn't call me that. He says, you're Cassius Clay. I'm not calling you Muhammad Ali, and you're going to stay Cassius Clay. I said, you going to call me Muhammad Ali, sucker? And during the fight, I kept saying, what's my name? And then I tell you, you're going to call me my name. I said, what's my name? He said, Cassius Clay. Your name is Cassius Clay. I kept hitting him. I said, what's my? He kept saying, Cassius Clay. And by round 7, I said, what's my name? He said, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali.
Okay. Right, go ahead there, thank you.
Muhammad.
Yeah, we want some light now. We want to get some fun going. Right, go on.
Ask me some good questions. Now, I might not be through here for another 100 years.
Speak up.
Muhammad, of all the former heavyweight champions of the world, who do you think would have given you the toughest fight?
One at the time he's talking about.
Roy, Jack Johnson and Rocky Marciano. Now, I'm not saying that's accurate, but that's what I think.
Do you think Jack Johnson could have out-talked you in the ring? How would that have been?
It'd been a hell of a contest.
Wouldn't it? Give us an idea of how that
Jack
would have gone. I'd
Johnson-
like to have heard that.
I don't know. He asked me a question.
You and Jack Johnson in the ring together.
Me and us and him together? Yeah, he'd probably say, you got a big mouth. You got a big mouth. You talk too damn much. I'm going to kick you behind the night. I probably says, I'm the greatest fighter of all times. I'm too pretty, sucker. You don't stand a chance tonight. If you think you can get me, come on. Just keep talking all that stuff. Keep talking. I'm going to soon get you in a few minutes. Come on, sucker. I don't care if you take 20 years, you'll never get me. I'm the greatest of all times. I'm greater than you, and I'm prettier than you. Look how ugly you are. You slick head shining. Look at my... You're too ugly. Ugly nothing, sucker. When I'm through with you, you're going to be uglier than me. I'm so, oh, nigga, you crazy. What you mean?
I think that's about right, too. Got one over there?
I know half of these people going to go home, boy, he's really crazy.
Yeah, he is. Can we switch to the other side now? We haven't been over here
now,
lately.
who painted that picture of me? I know I ain't that ugly. Who did that? That don't look like
Would you go ahead with that question, please?
Ali, is there any chance of you fighting again in this country professionally in the near future?
Fighting where?
Fighting professionally in this country in the near future.
In this country?
Uh-huh.
Well, I just won a professional fight today with a world champion dart thrower. I beat him, right?
I wasn't there. I'm sorry, I was here.
I beat him. We threw dart. The world champion, he's from this country. And I won 6 rounds, 15-round battle, and I won 6 rounds over more than he did. Well, I'm coming back for a rematch for that game in about a few months. But a world championship fight here, it might not be because I only have about 2 more fights planned. One is in Iran, Persia, and one's in a place called Tripoli, Libya.
Okay, thank you. Same side while we're there. Shall we keep that mic open? If somebody else wanted to ask a question there, right?
I'm getting tired. Y'all should be tired of asking questions now.
Mohammed, you said before that Sugar Ray Robinson was an idol of yours. Is he still around today and is he doing well?
Who?
Sugar Ray Robinson.
What you mean doing well?
Well, you said he was an idol. Do you follow him at all?
Oh, yeah. I was with him about 3 weeks ago. He runs the mayor's youth program in Los Angeles. He's also working with boys too now, and teaches them boxing and gymnastics. And he's head of a big youth center in Los Angeles. He's in good condition. He jogs every day. He still runs. Sugar must be about 60 years old now, but he's in good shape. I see him sometimes, not too much.
Right, thank you. Let's switch to the other part of the room now. Andy, have you got the microphone? Manager Andy Smith. This is Joe Bugler's manager. Wake up.
I have had the pleasure of being with you for a long time, and I've been with you, seeing you for about 7 years. And I would just like to, this is probably the last time that many of these people in England will have the opportunity of meeting you. And there are many people
No, I'm going to return.
Yeah, but there are many people who...
I'm going to return. I shall return. Have you ever heard this before? I shall return.
General MacArthur.
I have somebody. There's a young man here tonight I have to introduce. He's been calling me and calling me and calling me and calling me. He's my #1 fan in England, Mr. Paddy Monahan. Come here, Paddy. Come up here. Come up here. He's coming up here. Come up here. That man right there. That man right there. That's my #1 fan. When they took my championship, you may remember, he got locked up and the police come up and said by me, Paddy. He called Mohel, he's from London. Where are you from out there? Abingdon?
Abingdon.
Abingdon. You heard of Abingdon?
Yeah.
He's from Abingdon. Come sit by me now. You don't want to integrate, do you? He's walked around with a picket saying, Ali is our champ. The world know me now as the people champ. He started the slogan. He sponsored a fan club, Muhammad Ali fan club. He answered mail. He was on welfare. He would take some of the money and buy stamps. He started doing so good, they took him off of welfare. I had to come out there and make a few statements and write some letters so he could get his money back. He had to close the fan club because the people were getting envious of his success. And I met him in London. He called me in Chicago. He heard it was coming over. I told him to meet me in London. I put him on an airplane, and we flew here together. And I want you to say hello to the people. Now, you tell these people a word or two, Patty, and say something now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Muhammad Ali. It's always a pleasure to be by your side.
What are we going to do with the fan club? Are we going to get it started again if we get the right finance?
Well, you know, I'm not worried about finances. I think the people.
I mean, finance without
well,
romance.
we know.
Well,
It's,
listen now, romance without finance is nonsense.
but
Those
seriously,
ladies are clapping out there.
seriously, we've all taken you to our hearts, and you've always been in mine. There's only one thing I can say. There's only one way I can follow that up, Mohammed. I didn't know I was coming up. Mohammed was going to ask me up here today, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one thing I can say to you all, and you know, I'd like to hear what you have to say afterwards. World heavyweight champions may come and go, but in Muhammad Ali's case, this will never be so. Because forever, he will always be the people's champion to you and to me. Thank you.
We're just about at the end of the show.
That's the number one fan until somebody proves that they can outdo him.
That's absolutely right.
It's
And
hard to do.
He does it very unselfishly too. We're on our final question
It's the
because
oldest
we have
man
a...
in England that's got a hotline
You're
on my
interrupting
private phone in Chicago. Collect. He called me collect whenever he wants. He just said Muhammad Ali, London, England, Patty Mahoney, call and collect. I don't care what I'm doing. I stop and come to the phone. That's my number.
I know that very well. We have time for maybe one more question, then we have a little presentation to make to you, Mohammed. We have to stick to the schedules around here because he does have other things to do.
There's the question right there.
There's the question right there. Where is she?
The pretty girl.
Oh, the pretty girl. Right, okay.
I'm a Muslim, Muhammad Ali, and I would like to ask you, what made you change to the Islamic faith? And do you keep strictly to the laws of Islam? And are you as good a Muslim as you are a boxer?
Well, it's not for me. You know, the word Muslim means one who submits entirely to the will of God. One who submits entirely to the will of God. That's what Muslim means. So I don't know, I cannot be the judge on how much I submit entirely to the will of God. God himself can only judge us. So I can't say how good I am, and no true Muslim will brag or will even take a chance on saying he's good or he's halfway good or not. It's up to Allah, God, to be the judge, see? So I'm not going to say one thing about how good I am because I don't know. We never get good enough. I'm always striving to be right. And you asked me another question, why did I change? Because I was raised a Baptist. And after touring the world, I found out that there are 600 million Muslims on the planet. And all religions are good. I wrote something once. It says, rivers, lakes, and streams. They all have different names, but they all contain water. So does religions have different names, and they all contain God and the truth, only expressed in different ways, forms, and times. What Jesus taught was good. What Moses taught was right. What Buddha taught was right. What Krishna taught was right. What Isaiah, Lot, Noah, God has always sent prophets to different people at different times with messages for those people, and people have decided to choose those prophets as their leader. Some follow Krishna, some follow Buddha, some follow Muhammad, some follow Jesus, some follow whoever. But Moses, all of them are right. Jesus made a statement, I come not to destroy no law of the prophet, but to fulfill. All of God's prophets are right. You got to believe in all of them. So, if the person follow Buddha and do what Buddha said, they'll see God and believe it. If a person follow Krishna and live what he preached, he'll be good. If a person follow Moses and live like Moses preached, if they follow Jesus, they follow Lot, any of the prophets. So I decided to take the Islamic path. The Christian path is a perfect religion if the people practice. You have 2 coats, give me 1. I'm hungry, you feed me. Love your enemy. Pray for those who use you. Forgive. Give charity. Don't hate. Christianity is a perfect religion. It's the people who don't live the religion. The religion is good, but the people do things in the name of the religion. A lot of Muslims do things they shouldn't do. A lot of Protestants, a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Hindus live like they shouldn't live. But the religion itself, the religion is right, but the people who follow religion ain't so right. So I choose to follow the Islamic path because I've never saw so much love. I never saw so many people hugging each other, kissing each other, praying 5 times a day, the women in the long garments, the way they would eat. You can go to any country and say, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. You got a home, you got a brother. I chose the Islamic path because it connected me. As a Christian in America, I couldn't go to the white churches. As a Christian, that was for those people. It did them good. It didn't do me good. I saw Jesus Christ. I saw a white man with blonde and blue eyes. I look at the Lord's Supper in Christianity. I see all white people. You are an Asiatic girl. I see a man behind you is dark. All the pictures of angels are white. Why come we never go to heaven? Why come the Mexican don't go to heaven and fly around? Why the Puerto Rican, all the angels happen to be white angels. I look at Peter was white, Mary was white, Paul was white, God's son Jesus was white. Everything was white. Tarzan, the king of the jungles, he was white. And the angel food cake was made white, and the devil food cake was chocolate. And if I threaten you, I'm going to blackmail you. Black was always bad in the Western world. The black cat was the bad luck. If you get put out of a fraternity group, you get blackballed. Black was always bad. So the only thing that made me feel good, the only thing that made me feel free, that connected me with Saudi Arabia, the Islamic religion, connected me with Pakistan, Morocco, Syria. I sat down with Colonel Gaddafi, had dinner in his palace, stayed overnight because I'm a Muslim. As a Christian, I never could sit with Christian leaders. As a Muslim, I sat with Sadat, I sat with President Nasser, Marcos of the Philippines, Ayub Khan of Pakistan before he died. I've been sitting with kings of Sheikh Zayed of Abu Dhabi. Kings and people of these nations have welcomed me as a brother, and I'm a citizen. And now in America, I'm respected by all colors and throughout the world as a Muslim. See, the name Muhammad is the most common name in the world. There are more Muhammads on the planet. There are 4 billion people on earth, and every 3rd person is a Muslim. So for me, I'm not condemning no other religion, but for me, being a world figure, taking the name Muhammad Ali, which is the name of my people for the brother of America, accepting the Islamic religion, it was better for me. Where another person, Shintoism, Buddhism, Christianity, Baptist, Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, that might fit another man. But you can choose any religion you want. If you believe it, you'll see God, because all of them are good. So I chose the Islamic religion. That's why I chose it.
Mohammed.
Now, after I'm through boxing, I would like to be a minister. Don't you think I preach pretty good?
Very good.
Don't I make it plain?
Yes.
Don't you understand now? You asked me some pretty tough questions, but didn't I make a lot of sense? I didn't make the Christians hate me. I didn't make the Protestants hate me. I didn't make the Catholics hate me. I told you the truth. I said all of them are good if they live it. It's just the people who don't live it. So I chose the Islamic path. Religion is a touchy thing. Religion. Very few people can see. Some people, you say I'm a Muslim, don't want to hear you. Some people, you say I'm a Protestant, pow, pow. You say I'm a Catholic, pow, pow. All of them are right. All of them are from God. All of them are good and teach good. It's just the people and the titles that make you prejudice. But all of them got the same. It says one God, but there are many roads to that God. You understand? This is the power of this. You see me do this, you call me the greatest. That's because I'm more religious than I am physical, and I study a lot. And you may be surprised if you hear me talk, because you never heard me talk this way. But I got about 45 lectures that I memorized in my ministry, and I can tell you something about all the religious books, all the religions, because I'm a strong believer in God and humanity. That's why I'm helping these boys. That's why God blesses me to be so great here, because all the time I've been here, I've been talking about God, pushing religion. I'm not talking about me, how great I am, how much money I got. I'm always giving the praise to God. So that's why I'm as great as I am in this physical world, because I push him first.
Well, Mohammed, we're running out of time now. Could I Can I finish by saying I wouldn't presume to be your judge,
that's the
but
question.
I know you pretty well, and
That's the boss.
I
That's the
judge
boss.
you as a pretty good fella, and I think we all
Thank
would
you,
agree
thank
with
you,
that.
thank you, Richard.
And we have a little presentation for you to take home to your wife
There's
and
the
daughter,
boss
if
right
you
there.
would.
There's
Yeah,
the man,
I'm
man.
coming in a minute. We're actually finishing the show now. Could you ask the question when I'm...
You know who he is?
Yeah, he's the boss. He's the boss. Could we bring on the presentation, please? Would you like your sister-in-law to take these for you? The shaggy dog is for Hannah, your daughter.
My daughter.
And the bouquet